Hi guys, it's Amanda from theintuitivewife.com. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new and just passing through, welcome. I am Amanda, holistic health practitioner, energy healer, past life regression facilitator, and tarot reader. I talk about all things intuition and intuitive development, so if that's something you're interested in, be sure to subscribe so you can be in on all this good stuff. Today's video is about psychometry and how to build that Clair. Psychometry is also known as Clairtangency, so if you're looking on building your intuitive abilities, then this is a really great place to start. If you checked out my last video about Clairtangency, then you have a little bit of an idea of what it is, but I'm just going to quickly recap for you in case you missed it. Clairtangency, or psychometry, is when you're able to tune into a person's energy based on holding an object that was close to them, such as a wedding band or a necklace. When we wear or use something on basically a daily basis, then our energy imprints onto that object that we're constantly using. So this is one of the main reasons why psychics who help find missing children, for example, will want to go into the child's bedroom, or will want to hold their blanket or their brush or something to pick up on their energy, to help them pick up on the energy of the child, because it's something that they used on a daily basis. One of the main reasons I really like psychometry is because it helps you to develop your other clairs along the way without you even noticing it. So if you're holding an object and all of a sudden you hear the person's name, that is your clairaudience kicking in. Or if all of a sudden you're picturing the person and what they look like, especially if you didn't know them or if it's someone who has already passed on, then that's your clairvoyance kicking in. So I really like psychometry, especially for those who are just getting started, because it takes the pressure off of intentionally working on individual clairs. This kind of helps activate the other clairs along the way without you really paying a whole lot of attention to them. So the best way to get started when you're looking at developing psychometry is to start with an object that belongs to a person that you don't really know, or preferably don't know at all. So the best way to do this, in my experience, is to use the object of a friend's family member. So maybe you didn't know your best friend's grandparents. If you have access to maybe their wedding ring or a necklace, or maybe you don't have access to that and all they have is an old picture of their grandparent, then you can definitely also use a picture as well. Before you get started with any psychometry readings, it's really important to wash your hands with soap and water to clean off any energy that doesn't belong to you. You really want to be sure that you're only picking up the energy that is imprinted on the object. When you dry your hands, you're going to want to rub them together. The reason for this is to get the energy flowing in your hands. So you want to rub them together, and then you want to slowly pull them apart. And this, especially if you're just getting started, don't worry, this could take a little bit of time. But essentially, you're waiting for that almost like sticky feeling or that pull in between your hands. So once you start rubbing and rubbing and rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, and you start pulling it away, you're going to start to feel an energy or a pull within your hands as you're pulling them away. And once that's happened, then the energy in your hands has been activated and you're ready to hold the object of that other person. This could feel like a tingling, a pull, a sticky feeling. It feels different for many people. Don't overthink it. If it starts to feel a little bit different than 5 minutes ago, then trust that that is the energy being activated in your hands and you're ready to get started reading the object. There are tons of people online who will tell you when you're first getting started with clairtangency to start with an object belonging to someone you know. Personally, I have a really hard time doing readings for people that I already know and people that I'm close to, so that's why I suggest doing psychometry on an object doing psychometry on an object for someone you don't know. But that's why I suggested your friend's grandparent. It's also really important, if you're reading an object from your friend or their family member, that you wait until the very end to get feedback. There's two reasons for this. One is because if you say her name is Nancy and it's really not Nancy, and they tell you that right away, you're immediately going to feel discouraged. Another reason I say wait until the end is because you kind of get into a zone when you're doing a reading. So if you say her name is Nancy, for example, and whether you're right or wrong and your friend chimes in, if you're just getting started, it's really easy to get out of the zone and very difficult to get back into it. Where if you've been doing it for a long, long time, then it doesn't really matter. You're able to kind of like stay in it, hear what they're saying, and just go with the energy. But when you're just getting started, it doesn't take long at all for them to accidentally pull you out of the zone. For that reason, I would say try and wait until the very, very end to get feedback on your psychometry reading. Another thing I would suggest to do if you're looking at starting psychometry or developing your clairtangency is to have 2 or 3 objects laid out on a table or a counter. Have your friend come over and pick up one of the objects, but make sure your back is turned to them. You don't want to know which object they're picking up ahead of time. Have them pick up an object at random, hold on to it for about a minute, have them imagine their energy being imprinted on this object, or the object sucking their energy from their hands into the object. Put the object back down. Have them walk away, and don't make eye contact with you, because if your friends are like mine, they don't have very good poker faces. Pick up each one, or go to the one that you're most drawn to, however feels best for you, and start doing a reading on the one that you feel has the strongest energy, because chances are the object that your friend just had in their hand and imagined having their energy imprinted on this object is the one you're going to be drawn to. This is a really good exercise for you to pick up on energy, and because they literally just put this object down, it will have the strongest energy on it because it's so fresh. So you can start doing your reading on this one object, but again, wait until the end to get feedback, especially if you picked up the wrong object, because then you're totally going to be thrown off your game. If you are holding an object and you are struggling to get answers or to focus on the energy of that object, don't panic. As soon as you start to worry or panic is when the ego is going to kick in and you're just not going to be able to move forward with this reading. So I would suggest asking yourself these following questions to get you tuned in to the object and to the person's energy. Question number 1, who owns this? And the answers to these questions can come to you in any way, shape, or form. You could hear it, you could see it, you could have a deep sense of knowing in your stomach. Don't second guess yourself, and don't act like what you're hearing or seeing or receiving is your imagination, because it's not. It's really, really important to trust yourself and trust the information that you're receiving. Another question you can ask is, what did they look like? Or what do they look like if they're still alive? Another question is, what is or was their personality like? So you may all of a sudden get a sense of wanting to laugh, or feeling very bubbly or extroverted or super introverted. Trust those impressions that you're getting. You can also ask if the owner of the object is living or in spirit. You can ask what are some major life events that this person experienced. You might see their wedding day, for example. You can also ask, what emotions am I feeling from this object? Because it's important to remember that just because someone wore it or owned it doesn't mean they have a good experience with it. You could be working with an object that doesn't have the best memories or best energy attached to it. And that's totally okay, as long as you work on developing the skill and picking up these energies and communicating what you're feeling, then it doesn't really matter if it's good memories or bad memories attached to this object. So let's really, really quickly recap. Number 1, wash your hands with soap and water and dry them. Number 2, rub your hands together to activate the energy and start to pull your hands together until you start to feel that energetic pull in between. Number 3, start reading an object belonging to your friend or someone who your friend knows very well. Number 4, make sure all feedback is given at the very end of your reading so it doesn't throw you off course. Number 5, have 2 or 3 objects laid out on a table or a counter and have your friend try to infuse their energy best they can into that object. Once they've walked away from the object, go over to it and try and do a reading because the energy on it is so new and fresh. And number 6, if you are starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed or you're not really getting any impressions at all from the object, ask yourself very basic questions like, who owned this? Is this person still alive? What was their personality like? What did they look like? Just basic questions to try and get the juices flowing. So even though this wasn't a very long video, I hope that it helped you in understanding the best ways to start using your psychometry or clairtangency. If you have any questions, or if maybe you are already using this intuitive ability, let me know in the comments below. I would love to know what your experience is like. Don't forget, if you like this video, to like and subscribe so that you can be notified of other videos in the future that are similar to this one. Until my next video, I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!